Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Welcome to today's reading from Brilliant as the Sun, a retelling of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Part 2, Two Avatars. We're going to continue with a reading from chapter 25, The Glories of Devotional Service. So we are hearing from how Lord Kapila, the son of Devahuti and Kardam, is instructing Mother Devahuti about the glories of devotional service. So Mother Devahuti was sitting with her confidant maid servants, three of them, Kshama, Medha and Rangini, and listening to Lord Kapila. Lord Kapila was incarnation of Lord himself, who had come as the son of Mother Devahuti and Kardamuni. Rangini was still confused, so how was that an answer? Kshama said, "Let's discuss it. I'm sure we will get some insight if we are patient." Turning to Devahuti, who was listening intently, she said, "What is your view, mistress?" Devahuti brushed her hair off her face. "I think he meant that when we realize we are Prakriti and Krishna is the Purusha, we will stop suffering. At present, we are falsely trying to be enjoyers and therefore experience misery. To stop it, we need to practice the form of yoga which teaches us how to be enjoyed by Krishna." Medha said, "Yes, that's how I understand it." Rangini huffed. "Fair enough, maybe that bit connects to your question, but he said a lot more, none of which I understood." Devahuti said, "I also found it hard to understand everything he said, but discussing it now between us is helping." Kshama turned to Medha. "You have the best memory of us all. Can you recall what Kapila said?" Medha closed her eyes in concentration for a few moments. "He spoke about the need to purify the mind of attraction to matter and redirect it to Krishna. When the mind is cleansed of lust and greed, we see our true spiritual self." Rangini looked with wide-eyed confusion at each of them in turn. "Am I the only one here who cannot see how this has anything to do with Prakriti and Purusha?" Kshama placed an affectionate hand on Rangini's lap. "It's hard to see the connection between Kapila, because Kapila did not use those particular words in his reply. But I can see how he answered the question. How about you, Medha?" Medha nodded. "Yes, I can see it too. Now you mentioned it, Kshama. Presently our minds are attracted to matter, Prakriti. We must instead become attracted to Krishna, the Purusha. Then we will realize our eternal blissful spiritual nature." Devahuti's face brightened. "Yes." Then he explained that the only process which can effect this shift in consciousness is Bhakti Yoga, which means to discuss Krishna's pastimes and teachings in the presence of or company of pure devotees. Such discussions give so much transcendental pleasure that we will forget our miseries. She looked gratefully at her friends. "I feel such pleasure discussing with you three dear friends." They each blushed and looked down, gratified that they had helped enlighten Devahuti's unhappiness. After a few moments, Medha said, "I was intrigued by his comment that discussing about Krishna with pure devotees helps one first develop firm faith, then taste, then divine love." That left me a little confused, I must say. How can love stop suffering? Medha looked at Devahuti. "It seems that love is the cause of misery." Rangini distracted them all by suddenly saying, "Oh, just see, isn't that cute?" She pointed to a mother cat carrying her kitten through the long grass. The kitten dangled peacefully from Mother Cat's mouth. Suddenly the cat froze. It dropped its kitten and struck a hunting pose. All four ladies were spellbound by the scene unfolding a few meters from them. Darting from one tree to another, unaware of the deadly danger it faced, was a rat. Suddenly the cat pounced, seizing the terrified and writhing rat in her mouth. She shook it this way and that until it dangled lifelessly. Taking a few deep breaths, Devahuti said, "It's beginning to make more sense." Her three companions urged her to share her insights. Devahuti said, "By hearing from those who love and trust Krishna, we develop the same feelings. By discussing with them, we realize that everything happens by Krishna's will. Armed with knowledge and faith, we become unafraid even in the face of calamity, knowing that our loving well-wisher is in control." On the other hand, conditioned souls who want to usurp Krishna's position as the enjoyer and controller do not see his loving hand and they suffer. Just as the same jaws that lovingly hold the kitten spell death for the rat, so the same reversals that devotees see as Krishna's mercy are simply misery for deluded souls trying to enjoy matter. Her companions nodded slowly. The vivid example of the cat and the rat made it very clear. Kshama looked thoughtful. "I was wondering what Kapila meant by saying we should systematically discuss Krishna's pastimes." Devahuti said, "Kardam often told me about different incarnations, starting with Lord Vishnu who creates the cosmos. He said that we should not immediately try to understand Krishna's pastimes because they are confidential." I think Kapila was alluding to this. "What should we start with, mistress?" asked Shama. "I think the creation pastimes, but I will ask Kapila. Medha said, "My lady, there are many yogis around here who are highly renounced and always meditating. What of them? It doesn't look like they engage in any discussions. It seems they prefer solitude." Rangini interrupted. "They really do like their peace and quiet. I accidentally went near one the other day and I thought he would burn me alive with his angry eyes." Medha laughed. "Surely, though, they must achieve something with their austere practice." Devahuti said, "My husband used to tell me stories about great yogis. I remember hearing about Vishwamitra and Shaubari. They both attained a high stage of spiritual realization, but they fell back to material life. Apparently, they had only achieved Brahman and Paramatma realization. There is a high stage called Bhagwan realization, which alone is permanent." "Why is that?" asked Medha. From a distance, they saw Kapila striding towards them. Devahuti said, "I will ask him that too." She signaled to the attendant maidens to clear away the picnic. Verse 28, when Kapila was again seated, Devahuti continued her questions. "You have said that one should hear from pure devotees and discuss your pastimes. Please tell me exactly what I should hear and practice so that I may quickly and easily attain your eternal loving service." "From what I understand, you have come to teach a mystic yoga system that aims at establishing a personal relationship with you, the Supreme Lord, thereby completely and permanently ending one's material existence. Please describe this yoga system. How is it different to conventional Jnana and Ashtanga yoga, which carry the risk of falling down? Please describe its various elements." Verse 30, "My dear son, being a woman, I find it difficult to understand the absolute truth. If you kindly explain it in detail, then although I am not very intelligent, I will surely understand and feel transcendental happiness." Verse 31, Kapila looked at her compassionately. "Listen, dear mother, as I describe the ancient Sankhya system of philosophy, which is the combination of Gyan mixed with Bhakti." So this is a good recap for everyone. Sankhya system is the combination of Jnana mixed with the Bhakti Yoga. Verse 32, "The senses are controlled by the gods who are naturally inclined to follow the Vedic directions. given by Krishna as the Lord leads the gods, so the mind leads the senses. It thus represents Krishna, and we should serve him along with senses. When that service is rendered spontaneously without selfish motive, that is Bhakti Yoga. So we should remember that mind is also Lord, and we should try to serve the mind, which is the Lord, with our senses, by focusing all our senses into Lord. Only then Bhakti will happen. And we should not engage mind in serving ourselves through the senses. When that service is rendered spontaneously without selfish motive, that is Bhakti Yoga, this is superior to any other achievement, including liberation. Verses 33 to 34, Mother, Jnana Yogis undergo severe austerities to control their senses and attain liberation. The Sankhya Yogi, who cultivates Jnana by hearing and chanting about me, easily attains these results, as the fire of digestion destroys the useless parts of our food but digests those parts which nourish our bodies. Similarly, regular hearing and chanting about the Lord destroys tendencies for sense gratification but nourishes our spiritual inclinations. Engaged both in hearing about and glorifying me, the devotee derives so much happiness that he never hankers for the liberation desired by the Jnanis, which is to merge with me. Verses 35 to 37, I bless such devotees with an attraction for my deity form. They enjoy visiting temples to see my smiling face and reddish eyes. That resemble the rising morning sun. Knowing me to be transcendental and all auspicious, they reveal their minds to me by offering me attractive prayers. Completely captivated by my form and pleasing words, my pure devotees feel such ecstasy they lose attraction for anything else. Absorbed in my devotional service, their senses automatically become free of material engagement. Indeed, liberation is an incidental benefit for those immersed in my loving service. They do not seek it, nor do they desire the enjoyments of the higher planetary systems, including Brahma's planet. They become indifferent to the 8 mystic powers and even to entering Vaikuntha. Although they do not want them, devotees achieve all these benedictions in this very lifetime, ultimately attaining my eternal abode. Verses 38 to 40. My dear mother, entering Vaikuntha, my devotees never deprived of transcendental happiness. The wheel of time, which destroys everything in the material world, does not act on those who accept me as the beloved friend, relative, son, preceptor, benefactor, and deity. I personally take to the other side of birth and death one who worships me, the all-pervading Lord of the universe, in unflinching devotional service, always hearing and chanting about me, and abandoning desire for sense gratification in this life or the next. Devahuti wondered which form of the Lord she should worship. Verse 41, Kapil said, Mother, I am pleased when one worships any of my personal forms. By my mercy, my devotee surpasses the terrible cycle of birth and death. Otherwise, it is not possible, for I am the Almighty Lord, the original source of creation and the super soul of all souls. A doubt entered Devahuti's heart. What of the gods? Should they not be worshipped also? If they were dissatisfied, what would they not make one suffer? Verses 42 to 43. Noting her doubt, Kapila declared, I am the superior to the gods. Out of fear of disobeying me, the sun shines, Indra sends forth rain, and fire burns. Anyone desiring freedom from material entanglement should therefore take full shelter of me in devotional service especially hearing and chanting about me, because I am the Supreme Lord. By my grace, they will become fearless and enter my eternal spiritual abode. Verse 44, the most important requirement for spiritual success is to fix one's mind on my personal form. This is Bhakti element of Sankhya. The mind is the master of the senses. Whatever it focuses on, the senses follow suit. The senses cannot be inactive, but once the mind is fixed on pleasing me, each sense engages in my service. For example, the tongue speaks about me, tastes my food, remnants, the nose smells my flowers, offerings, the legs walk to my temple, and the hands cleanse it. This is the only way the mind and senses can successfully be controlled and the highest perfection of life, self-realization, achieved. As the companions gently fanned her, Devahuti retreated into deep thought. Kapila had stressed the importance of hearing about the glorifying his personal forms and activities. Cultivating knowledge about the difference between matter and spirit is not enough. One must also understand the Lord's form and pastimes. Curious to learn more about this, she looked up at her son for further instructions. We will continue with chapter 26. Rather, we'll begin that. It's titled Fundamental Principles of Matter. Wish you all a very happy Dwadashi. Please chant and be happy and listen to the glories of the Lord and look after yourselves. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.